guys, my name is Hannah and welcome back to my channel. So today is December 31st. Tomorrow is January 1st. So the new year is rapidly approaching. I mean, it's literally tomorrow. That's, to me, is insane. It's time for a monthly wrap-up. And I didn't do monthly wrap-ups in November or October due to issues with storage and editing and all of that crazy stuff, and I will not bore you with the details, but I think I got it sorted out now. So I only read 4 books this month, so it wasn't my best reading month, but all of the books that I read I really enjoyed, so that's always a plus. So I decided that I'm going to also do my November reads. So I'm going to talk about December reads as well as November reads. So I'm going to talk about November reads first, and then we'll talk about what I read this month. Without further ado, let's get started. The first book I read this month was The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey. This is the second book in the Fifth Wave trilogy, and I rated that a 4.5 stars, so I really enjoyed it. I love these characters so much. I love this world. So this book literally picked up right after it picked up right where the first book ended, and I love that. So we just got right into the story and we knew what happened to the characters and all that stuff. So I really enjoyed it. Obviously, like I said, I absolutely love these characters and I love this world. So the second book I read in November was The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the third book in the Inheritance Games trilogy. I love this series. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. This is one of my favorite series of all time. This I rated a 4.5 stars as well. So honestly, I can't put into words how I feel about this book. I have an issue with putting things into words anyway. I love these characters. They're so great. They're so fun. And I love the romance. I love the triangle, the drama. I love the puzzles and everything that this series is. I love it, and I will continue to reread it because I love them so much, and I feel like they're my friends. So the third book I read in November, it was The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. I rated this a 3.75. I love the atmosphere. I love the setting. It was perfect time to read during like the fall and the cold time because they're trapped on a mountain during a blizzard. This was a wild ride. I listened to a playlist on Spotify that is specifically curated for thrillers, and the vibes was immaculate. I liked the main twist, and I also liked that we learned about the characters as the book went on. Like, things were revealed about our main character as the story went on. We didn't just get character dumped at the beginning and just went on with the story. The background of the character was part of the plot, which I really enjoyed that. I liked that a lot. The fourth book I read is on Kindle, and that is Verity by Colleen Hoover. I rated this a 5 star. Oh my goodness. I loved this book. It was nothing like I was expecting in the best way. This book started out with a bang. Just right there, something happens, and I was hooked from the very beginning. It was thrilling, and I had no idea where the story was going or how it was going to end. I didn't really see anything coming. I kind of knew a little bit about the book before I even went in it. I've heard like little reviews. I heard that there was a romance. Some people told me what the romance between who was, and they were like So I've heard different things about it. So I kind of went into it blind, but not really, because I knew some things about it, but it didn't spoil it because I didn't see any of that crap happening. It was a lot, but it was so fun. That is why I rated it a 5-star. And the last book I read in November was The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. I rated this a 3-star. And when I started it, I didn't start it in November. I think I started it in September. But I put it down and was reading other things, and then I went back to it in November. And I think because of that big time period of where I put it down and just didn't want to pick it up, I think that really put a hindrance on my rating, because I was really enjoying it, and every time that I would pick it up and read, I enjoyed it. This had a great storyline, but then when we got to the last conflict, our female main character just made me mad. And it wasn't like a mad to where I'm enjoying this kind of mad. I was actually mad that the female main character was doing that. And then I unfortunately read a comment on Goodreads that told me a major spoiler. Something happens at the end, and I read that. They didn't put spoiler on their comment, so I read it and spoiled the whole thing for me. So unfortunately, I saw the last thing coming, and ugh. I liked the premise, and I loved the first half of the book, but unfortunately the second half kind of fell flat for me, and that definitely put a hindrance on the rating. Okay, so the first book I read in December was Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I rated this a 5-star, and I loved it. I enjoyed this one a little more than Things We Never Got Over. I love this series as a whole. I love it so much. But this one is definitely my favorite out of it. Right now, I haven't read the third one, but as it stands, this one's my favorite. I absolutely loved it. I don't have words to describe just how much I love Nash and Lena. Plus, I love a man in uniform. So I just overall really enjoyed this. The next book I read was Christmas Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. This was a library book, so I don't have the physical copy, but I rated this at 3.5 stars. This was a really cute read. I mean, it was nothing to like write home about, but I really enjoyed it. It was unlike anything I had ever read before. Once I would sit down and open it, I would fly through it. It was a pretty large book, but it didn't feel that way. The next book I read was also a library book, but it was No Exits by Taylor Adams. And I rated this a 4-star. I loved it. It was so action-packed. It was so intense. It literally had my stomach in knots. Like, I was physically ill because I was so scared. I loved it. It was so intense and so fast-paced. And listen, I love a story that takes place, especially a thriller, that takes place all in one night. And with Taylor Adams, I've read 2 of his books, and both of them have taken place over one night. And so each chapter is like a different time. And I love that. I love that. So, last book I read this month, I literally just finished it maybe 2 hours ago. And that is My Fault by Mercedes Ron. I rated this a 4.5 star, and I didn't think I was going to like this one. I didn't, just because the love interest was her stepbrother. So I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that, but honestly, it wasn't bad. I loved it. I loved it. It was so cute. There were a couple of things that kind of got on my nerves though, because like her family is from Canada and they moved to LA, and she kept saying, I'm from a different country. I'm from a different country. Well, Canada is a part of the US, so it kind of that kind of irked me because she's like, I'm from all the way over there. I'm like, it's part of the U.S. It kind of irked me. The second thing that really got on my nerves was she would say me and Nick hooked up when all they did was kiss. Honey, that ain't hooking up. We were just kissing. So tell me why she was saying they hooked up. That's not really a hookup. So that was kind of irking me a little bit too. But I could look past that and enjoy the story. And that's what I did, is I looked past all the things that were kind of getting on my nerves. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really did. Well guys, that is going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!